Hi, welcome to Learning Traditional Bluegrass Guitar. In this video, we're going to learn how to play traditional style, simple rhythm in G, C, D, A, and E. We're going to look at something called the shuffle lick and the shuffle rhythm, and we're going to learn how to play in 3/4 time, and we're going to learn a few basic runs, and then we're going to finish up with the Lester lick. And so let's just go ahead and get started here. Now, the most simple pattern in bluegrass is called the boomstrum. All right, and it's where you hit the bass note and then you do the strum. But before I talk about that, let's look at the G chord here. People make it different ways. I usually make mine like this. This is the way that Bill Monroe made his in the early days. And then Lester, he was mostly making it like this. This is the most ubiquitous common form of the G chord in traditional bluegrass. And so you can take your pick of those, but I'm gonna be making mine like this. All right, so here's how the boomstrum works. The boom is the big bass note, right there, 3rd fret of the E, it's a G note. And then you're gonna strum from the D string down. And how I like mine to sound is more like a percussive hit, like that, instead of like a real strummy strum, like that. So you can get a nice percussive effect if you kind of hit the D, G, B, and E strings kind of all at the same time, like that. And so that's the first move, boom, strum, and then you hit the open D string, and then you strum again from the D string down, like that. Okay, so here we go with the boomstrum. Okay, so here we go with the boomstrum. So that's G, and your C chord right here, strumming from the A string down. And the way that you alternate your bass is starting with the 3rd fret of the A, your big boom, and then you strum usually from the D string down, and then you alternate with your ring finger down to the E string, 3rd fret, and then strum from the 3rd string down, the D string, like that. So that's how you alternate. Boom, strum, boom, strum, boom, strum, boom, strum. And okay, so let's talk about the right hand a little bit. One thing that happens with the way that comes naturally to me to play is that I'll do my strum, boom, strum, and then when I come down to hit the next bass note, I'll kind of grab the top E string just for placement. It kind of helps me center my hand there. It's like, you know, when I get to that E string, I know that my thumb and forefinger are ready to be in the right space to hit the bottom note. But a lot of people just play with a closed kind of hand like that. Totally cool. Some people put their little finger there on the A string, 3rd fret, and then the ring finger on the 3rd fret of the E. They kind of let it ring more. But generally, I think it's cool to kind of have a little bit of space in between the bass notes. A little more separation. So there you go with the C chord. So let's just kind of alternate with the G and the C. Let's get the D chord involved, all right? So starting with the open D, and your strum from the G chord, from the G string down, excuse me, and the open A string, and then strum from the D chord, the D string down. C, and D. C chord, D chord, and back to G. Alright, so this is no frills, no embellishment, it's just straight rhythm. And so this particular pattern here, if you're just getting used to changing the chords, it'll be maybe a while before you can get up to that speed, but just work on it slowly. And so this particular pattern here is the song Blue Ridge Cabin Home. It's like the super most jam standard you could ever learn, basically. And so let's just sing a little bit of that and play this basic rhythm. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. There's a well-beaten path down this old mountainside where I wandered when I was a lad. There I wandered alone to the place I call home in the Blue Ridge Hills far away. Oh, I love those hills of old Virginia. From those Blue Ridge Hills I did roam. And when I die, won't you bury me on the mountain far away near my Blue Ridge cabin home? All right, so that's playing in G. You know, so many different songs you can play right there in G. You know, takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. It takes a worried man to sing a worried song. I'm worried now, but I won't be worried long. Just on and on. So now let's move up to the key of C and check this out. So we're starting in C with our Boomstrum. The next chord, if we're going in that same harmonic pattern, is going to be the F chord. And there are a couple different ways you can make it. This is one where you have your ring finger on the D string, 3rd fret, middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string, the G string, and then you're going to bar the B and the E string at the 1st fret. And here's how you alternate that. It's a lot like C, you know, so you start with your ring finger note, and then strum from the G string down, and you alternate that with the 3rd fret of the A. Form, which is also called a bar chord. It's where you're basically barring the 1st fret with your 1st finger all the way across, and then you get your ring finger on the 3rd fret of the A, little finger on the 3rd fret of the D, middle finger, on the 2nd fret of the G. This is a tough one. And the way that this alternates is with the bottom string, the low note, 1st fret of the E that you're barring with your 1st finger. And then you're going to strum from the A string down, and then you're going to alternate with your ring finger note, which is the 3rd fret of the A, and then strum that basically from the D string down. It's a nice full sound. And then to go around the horn, the 5 chord, as they say if you're using the Nashville number system, is the G chord. C. Like that. Okay, so let's go through both different ways.